Hello, how are you today? This is Joanne Hewins. Let me know if you're out there, if you can hear me, and we'll get started in a few minutes. It's right on the hour, I believe. Okay, I just shared that with another group. So just waiting a minute. Okay, I hope everybody is doing fine today. I'm going to go ahead and start. Oh, hey, Tina. Good to see you today. Glad you're with me. Now, I didn't order the swag box for on stage, so I'm not expecting anything from them. I did get something for center stage. That was really nice. But glad you're here, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know people can go back and watch the replay, and that's usually what I have happen for my videos. So today we're going to be looking at the Tombstone Treat Boxes. They're in the July-December mini catalog, and they're back on page 51. They're up here in the corner, and we're not going to use them for tombstones. I'm not a super big Halloween person. Used to be a little bit back when I taught first grade because we had to do holidays. And of course, Halloween is one of those. But since my children are gone or grown, they're not gone. I don't do Halloween quite as much. In fact, the grandchildren were coming, and I thought, I need something for Halloween up. And I went to the Dollar Tree to get something to put up, and they had no Halloween left. So I thought that was interesting. So when you open the box, I think it's a box of 8 that you get of the Tombstone boxes. The top and the bottom look exactly the same. Hey, Faith. And you just kind of have to lay them together and see that one is actually just a little bit smaller than the other. And then these are easy to put together. I'm going to put together a bottom because I've used a lot of the tops in getting this ready for today. But I just want to show you how easy it is. I'm going to go ahead and bend it. Now, in order to make this not a tombstone, we are going to have to do a little bit of cutting on this. So to start with, I'm going to bend this part back that has the top of the tombstone, and we're just going to cut across to the other side. Okay, I didn't get that quite straight. I'm going to do another little slither. Okay, so we have that, and then the other thing that we're going to have to cut are these 2 pieces that stick out on the end. So I'm going to have to come up from this other way. And so I'm just going to cut that piece off and this piece off. I think I can do that one this way. I need to lay that flat. There we go. And so now it just doesn't have that appearance of the tombstone any longer. Let me go ahead and close it so you can see how easy you do the top and the bottom the same way. It already has the adhesive on there, so you just need to pull these 2 strips off. And then fold in your ends, fold this up, and then on around, and it sticks on the inside. So it's that easy. So fold those in, fold that up, hold it kind of steady, and then there you go. So it's a good sturdy box because it's double here on the ends, and quite pretty. I like that gray. That's a good neutral color. So I'm going to move this bottom out for a moment and go ahead and get started. Now, on my description, I said we were going to be doing some Christmas boxes, but I wanted to show you this one that I made actually a while back for the 3D Thursday projects. And I have a PDF for this, although I did change the leaf to a current leaf. And I used for this the sunflower dies. So I used 2 of these and crinkled them up. They're in Mary Merlot. The paper behind is cut out with the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I think this thank you might be from the Versailles stamp set. I'm not exactly sure. And then the leaf is cut out with the sunflowers as well. And it's a pretty good size box. This one has the top and the bottom. And I had just put on the inside an Entenmann's apple pie. Fit in there nicely, and I thought this had a fall look, and you think about apple pie, and so I thought that would make a nice little gift. I used some of the Bumblebee gingham ribbon on that. And I will put the link in the description of the video up at the top when I add a little more to that, and I'll put the link to where you can find the PDF for this box. So let me set that out of the way and we'll get started. Now I'm going to be using a lot of basic gray ink today, and that's because the boxes are gray. So I'm going to pull in the first box, and we're using the Christmas season bundle. There's the stamp set, and we really didn't stamp too much of these on here. We just cut it out. So mostly it's the seasonal labels dies, and these cut out the stamps in the stamp set, but I just used them alone for this. And then it also has some really nice labels. So this label is this die here. So let me set that aside. And a lot of these, I'm just going to talk to you about how I did them instead of doing so much stamping, because I'm limited in my number of boxes that I have. So I'm going to pull in, this is a top. I'll go ahead and cut that and get the extra away, and then I'm going to use this to help me just lay out the tops of these. Okay, I think I cut that one a little bit crooked, but I think it'll be all right. There we go. So push that out. So to lay this out, I had these parts. So I'm just going to kind of show you what I did for that. For the saying, I did use Friends Like You Make the Season Special, and this is a stamp set from the Christmas to Remember. Let me reach over and get that stamp set. Christmas to Remember stamp set. It's actually, I think, very close to where this one is pictured in the catalog. So I'm going to stamp this in Mary Merlot. So I chose to use Mary Merlot instead of the red for this. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. May or may not get it straight. Usually my advice for something like this is to stamp and then cut. So we'll just see how we do. Okay, not too bad. Hi, Jane. How are you? So I didn't really get these boxes until I saw another demonstrator who did cut that off and use it to make other things, and it really worked out well. Okay. My bow in this is this metallic ribbon. It's in the mini catalog. Has a little bit of the Merlot look to it to me, and then a lot of gold metallic. And so I just did that, and that would go down with a couple of glue dots, and then you would trim trim your bow ends on there. And then to finish that off, to add the leaves, I did end up giving them a little bit of a haircut. So what I did for these, I just felt like that, let me get that little piece out, I just felt like that was too much. It was covering up my words. And so I ended up cutting some of this off and using a smaller piece like that. And then I cut another one off at about the same place for the other side. So I'm just kind of laying that there, but I think you can get the idea. Actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of that because I can use another box like that. So this is going to go on with dimensionals. Okay, and I'll go ahead and put my bow down. I'm going to add a glue dot. Actually, I'm going to add a couple glue dots for that. And then for my leaves, I'm going to glue those. And I'm going to do the side that's going to be covering up, or the side that's going to be on the tag itself, is where I'm going to add the glue. And then we'll do the same with the other side. And I have to kind of, a little directionally challenge sometimes, so I had to lay that down and kind of see how that's going to fit. You know, I think maybe I cut that leaf off as well, so it doesn't cover up the words. And then we'll add our berries up here. And then down here for the bottom, I cut these as well. I just felt like that was about as much as we needed sticking out of there. So I didn't even cut the whole one out of that. So they're going to go up under there. And then this one, we're going to cut again and stick there. So that's, I think, all I'll do. We had a little bit of our berries. So I think that's as much as I'll do on this one so that we can go on to the next. Well, hello, Carol. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. So this is our first Christmas box, just for using the tombstones. So I have to admit that I'm not really using mine for Halloween. I'm using it for these. So I'm going to set this aside. I'll finish that a little bit later. And I'll set this aside, and we'll go on to the next box. And this is the next one that I have made with this. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I did that. And I am going to need another top. So this is my last, I've got one more top. So that's why I'm just kind of talking about some of these. Let me cut off the top again. And then we'll cut off this bottom. And this one. Hi, Faith. Yeah, the boxes didn't appeal to me, but I do kind of like that gray color. I just think that's a nice neutral. So for this one, I wanted it to look like Santa Claus was up on the roof. And what I ended up doing was using the bark. I was going to use a different folder. I can't remember which one it was right now, but it was not one of the fat ones, and it wasn't going to fit in here. So anyway, I'm going to put it in here and ran it through my machine. And your sandwich for that is your big plate, this, and your gray plate. So I am going to go ahead and just run this through my machine. I'll be right back. It's sitting here. Okay, and I don't know if you can see the texture that's on there or not, but I was hoping maybe it would look like a gray slate roof. And then for the chimney, I used, let me pull some things out of here. For the chimney, I used the brick and mortar embossing folder. And I'm just going to talk about this, but what I did is open it, and there's one side that has the brick part that's more prominent, and the other side has the mortar side that's more prominent. So I just took my pad and went over the side that shows the mortar. I didn't worry so much about getting it on the flatter side of that because bricks are not that clean. So I will run this through real quick. It's the same sandwich. Well, I rubbed that again as the other, and I'll just run it real quick so you can see that color on there. Okay. So, and you can see that it's got the brick color. It's got some other gray spots on there, but like I said, I wasn't worried about that. And then I just took a thin piece of basic gray and added that to the top, for the top of my chimney. And we'll just trim that and let it overhang just a little bit. So for the rest of that, I just stamped my Santa. And let me show you the stamp set that goes with this. It's Be Jolly. So I stamped this Santa. It could be either one. And I colored it with blends. And I'm not going to color with you today, but I used the light and dark red, the light and dark smoky slate, and I used the slate because of the gray, hi Patty, of the gray that's on the box. And then the bird was colored with Balmy Blue, and then a little bit of texture or a little bit of yellow for the beak and the belt. So those were the colors that I used. And then I also used ivory for the skin and added a little bit of the petal pink around the cheeks down there to add in a little bit of color there. So now the only thing about this one is that you do have to fussy cut him, and he maybe isn't the easiest of things to cut out, but it's not too bad either. I like to cut. So that is this one, and I'm not going to assemble the whole thing, but here is our Santa. You know, you could also switch him up a little bit, move the chimney down, or have the chimney coming up from the bottom, and then put Santa coming out of the chimney. I think would be cute as well. Now the saying is also from the Be Jolly stamp set. So there you go. So here's our second box that we had using Christmas items. We put some of that out of the way. I thought Santa turned out kind of cute. And then The next one that I'm going to talk about is this one. This uses another saying from the Christmas to Remember stamp set. And so I used these stamps. Here's the one for the middle here. And I can stamp that. I've got some of that already cut out. And there was something I wanted to show you about this. So, actually, I did not cut out another centerpiece. But that centerpiece is on dimensionals. And then what I did with this one is I stamped one of the large flowers and cut that out, and then one of the small flowers, and then two of the greeneries, and cut those out. And that is using the Merriest Frames dies that goes along with, let me move that out of the way. It goes along with the Merriest Moments stamp set. Okay, so these flowers are a little bit hard to cut out, and that's only because they're not symmetrical. So when you get ready to cut those out, what I usually try to do is look for a difference, something that looks different than the rest. And I kind of think that looks a little bit like that. So that's how I try to lay it, and I don't think that worked. So then just go around. Some of you may have a better idea. There's where it goes. So that was actually this part. But you can go around and get it. Okay, I just wanted to point out that you would have to match that up. Okay. So on this one, I used the Wonderful Gems to decorate. And here they are. So there are some gold and some of the red. I thought they looked nice on there. The red has a little bit of gold flecks in there. But to go along with the box, I stamped the center in gray. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't very happy with that. So I have an alternative for those, and that is to use the metallic pearls. So I'm going to show you what that would look like. And I think you're going to like that better than the gray. But it doesn't matter if you match the gray so much, because it's a neutral color. And I don't think it really matters. But these gold dots really look good. And maybe the silver ones would look a little bit better with the gray. But there's just something about that gold on there that I really, really like. So you can imagine that one there with the gold. Isn't that pretty? Do you like the gold better? And this one, I'm not going to go ahead and do all of that. I didn't cut that one out especially well right there, so I'm going to redo that. Okay, so there's a little bit of the this bundle, the Merriest Frames. This is a hybrid, actually, stamp set. It has a embossing folder that goes along with all of this. And I haven't played with this as much as I should have. That's going to be coming up soon. But this embossing folder fits with this so that you can match that up and cut it and emboss it at the same time. And then it also has this piece in it that would allow you to cut out just the outside of that embossing like that. So pretty neat, and I will be working some more with this coming up. But I just thought that made a cute little box top and would make a cute little Christmas gift. Okay. All right, let me push this out of the way, and I have really just one more box that I wanted to show you this morning or this afternoon, and that is this one. And this box uses the Angels of Peace stamp set, and I did want to do a little bit with that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my angel in gray, but I have misplaced it somewhere. It's probably sitting right there where you all can see it, but I can't. Aha, I found it. So I'm going to stamp this in gray. And for this one, I just cut a piece of basic white, and for the one that I'm going to show you now, I actually used the die that comes with that. Let me pull these dies back that I was just showing you, because that's from there. It's this one, and that fits right into that box. So it would make sense to use that one, wouldn't it? So I'm going to stamp my girl in the middle there. And I do not claim to be a great person with blends, but I think I will go ahead and color her with you. Usually we use pimento black when we are stamping and using blends, but you can use some of the other colors, and that's what I used for her here. So I'm going to pull in to start with. I'm going to do her hair, and I'm going to start with the light, and I'm going to make her a blonde. Not that I think angels have blonde hair, but this one does. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of darker, kind of where the lines already are, and maybe around where these flowers are. I don't understand a lot about shadows. Sorry, Patty Bennett, if you're still watching. But anyway, and I'm going to change. I did her flowers in Calypso Coral before, but I just felt like that was a little dark. So I'm going to use this Petal Pink that I had sitting here. And now that might blend in too much. And then this is a light old olive that I'm just going to do a little bit of these leaves. And I'm not going to worry about blending all of that. Now I'm going to go back with the ivory and use that for her skin. Now Petal Pink is another good skin color. Let me get her arms. And then I am going to bring back that Petal Pink and just put a little here for her cheeks. And I didn't really even feel like I needed to blend that with anything else. I just thought it looked nice just like that. And I may add, I didn't do that before, but we'll put a little bit there. And then I'm going to be, well, we'll do the holly leaves. And I am using mostly my bullet point, especially with these small spaces. And I'm going to add maybe just a little bit of something there. Somebody's ringing my doorbell, but they are not getting in right now. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and color her dress and wings. So for the wings, I'm just going to kind of do some blue. This is the light balmy blue. And I'm just going to go over those lines and maybe add something out here. I'm sure that would be dark in there. And then I'm going to go over that with a Wink of Stella. Now this is an old pen. I'm not sure it has much. It does. And so we're going to give her wings a little bit of a shine. I love the angels, but I have to say that when it came to creating something with them, I had trouble. And I've come up with what I think is a couple of really pretty cards. I think maybe I've had most of those on my blog at lovetocreate.typepad.com. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of go around the edges of her dress. You can see that if I'm coloring like this, I love the blends. I love how they look. And I do need to take some of those classes about being a better colorer of the blends. So I'm just kind of going around that where I think there may be some shadows or where there are already some lines. And just adding a little bit of color here and there. Just wherever I decide to add it. Actually, that's the way I color with them. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that like that. And then I'm going to come back with the light. And instead of coloring over everything, I'm just going to kind of push out some of that color so it blends in a little bit better. But I don't have everything colored, to leave a little bit of more lightness. So there she is. That's how she's going to look on this. And then I cut a piece of gold that's just a little bit bigger than she is, and we will adhere that. And then I used the embossing folder from the Merriest Moments and embossed a piece of white for this card. And of course, this is too big. Is that a top? That's a bottom. But anyway, this was too big, and so I had to trim it down. This, I measure. This was 3 inches by 4 inches. Okay, and I know that I've got this cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to tell you what I did, and I didn't feel like measuring, to tell you the truth. So I took and cut off of one end about 1/2 inch, and on this trimmer I think that's that. So I'm going to come over to the other end and do the same amount. And then I measured it again. This is for people who don't want to measure very much. And I can see that that is more than 1/4. It's or more than 4 inches. So I'm going to do half of an 1/8 of an inch and then another 1/8 of an inch to get it to the 4 that I wanted. Does that make any sense? Does that sound too difficult? It's just it was just the way I was thinking. And then this is, gosh, I can't even think right now. This is for, is that a square? It is. So this is 4, and I want it to be 3. So I just need to cut 1/2 an inch off of 4, and I want it to be 3. So 1/2 an inch. So it's, okay, I'm going to do it this way. I really was good in math in school. It just doesn't show right now. Getting ready to cut the wrong end. Okay, so that should be my 3 by 4, and it would fit like this. All right, and I used on this the white glimmer ribbon, and well, I've lost my angel. Where did she go? I hate losing things when I'm on camera. Here she is, over here in my things. I've swift away to the side. So she's going to go there, and she's going to go on dimensionals. Okay, I know I had another sheet here. She's going to go on dimensionals. Just do that. Okay, but I'm not really quite ready to put her down. What I'm going to do is run this ribbon around this piece. And I'm going to just put, okay, hold on just a moment. I knew I had some here. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape. This is not how I did it the first time, but I'm going to do a little bit of tape back here just to hold that in place. And then I'll cut a little bit more here. And I tied a bow. Now I will say I do have a hint for tying a bow, because you know I don't usually tie bows on camera. But if you do that first little bit, and then you get a glue dot, and put it right under there, right under where you tied, it holds that in place for you, and you don't have to fight trying to keep it tight. I didn't think that was going to work. Okay, so anyway, here's my bow, and then this will go right in here. And then all of that will trim our ends. And all of that will go on top of the box. Okay, so there's how you're going to do that. And I am loving the angel. I hadn't done so much with this is actually the first time I've used the little girl. So here are the boxes that we made today. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And then I also talked about one that I had shared earlier that was a fall card, and I will be sharing the link. I have a PDF that you can download for making this card, although I did change the leaf on there. So here we are, and I hope that gives you some ideas. If you got the Tombstone boxes and you're through with Halloween and you've got some left over, then use those to make your Christmas or fall projects, and give your friends some treats that they're really going to love to have. If you need to buy any supplies, I would appreciate it if you go to lovetocreate.typepad.com and get those from me. And if you would, I would appreciate it if you would share my projects today with your friends if you think they would be interested. Hi, Fran. How are you? Thank you all so much for joining me. I've had fun showing you. I hope the fact that I didn't actually make each one is okay, or make each one with you is okay. And these are just the tops, but they do fit right inside and make a lovely, lovely box. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.